Hi folks, it's Amayirot Akago again, back with more Space Quest 2. And when we last left our stalwart hero, he found himself locked in a cage with some sort of caveman sitting outside, apparently planning to cook him for dinner. So, let's jump right back in and see what happens next. The hunter looks hungry. Aye. The cage is made of some very hard branches. They might as well be welded steel bars. Well, there's no obvious way out of the cage, so we're gonna have to improvise. Well, just yell is enough. The hunter seems to ignore you. Let's yell again. The hunter stands and takes a long look in your direction. His face, though strange in its own right, bears an expression one might see on a freak show patron. He moves closer. And he's not doing a hell of a lot, is he? Pow! That looked painful. But that's nothing compared to this. The hunter has decided that it's a perfect day for a barbecue. As he slowly turns you over the fire, you begin to turn a beautiful golden brown. Death follows at an agonizingly long distance. That's a rather vivid description of a very uncomfortable way to die for what's reputed to be a family game. Anyway, what we're supposed to do is yell at him 2 times and then execute this little scheme. Upon impact with the ground, the spore opens and spews its dust into the air. The hunter falls to the ground, paralyzed. And then you search his grubby corpus. You search the large, not to mention uncleansed body of the hunter. You find a key which might unlock the cage. Other than that, you find only a few assorted parasites clinging to him. And with the key we find, we unlock the cage. The game expects me to pick up the key myself first. Anyway, like I said, use the key to unlock the door, and GTFO before he wakes up again. And bring along this rope just in case. So, that's another explosive situation diffused, so to speak. But we're not out of the woods yet. You are at the edge of a forest. The boundary is a sheer cliff at the east side of the area. In the distance you see a landing platform, possibly the one which welcomed you to this strange, lush world. The shuttle in the distance looks like it would be a nice thing to have right now. It will be mine. No worries, it will be mine. The landing platform, raised slightly above the nearby treetops, appears to be an active place with shuttles coming and going. The forest between the base of the cliff and the platform is densely populated with all manner of flora. Now, we probably shouldn't get too close to that thing because... yeah. Those guys pop up in the most inconvenient places. And let's just walk off the cliff for good measure. Way to go, Pathfinder! As you plunge toward the base of the cliff, "Mommy!" escapes your lips. But yeah, enough fooling around. There's adventuring to be done. So, we stay away from the cliff, and we just resume our way to the west. Well, looks like that hunter didn't drag us too far off. Ooh, that was a close one. Nearly walked right into the chasm. Now, seeing how we've been everywhere so far already, there's only one place left to go. Oh, you are not near a good place to tie the rope. Okay. Climb rope. And you head over the edge and down the rope. Whoops! It looks like that stump wasn't a good thing to tie onto. Yep, so instead we have to tie the rope to the log. And sadly, what we have to do next involves getting pretty damn close to that monkey. We start swinging. So that we can get to that cave on the left there. But like I said, the harder I start swinging, the closer I'll get to that monkey. And I really don't want to get too close to him. Ooh. Getting a little close for comfort. Just in case I screw up. Almost. Oh, crap. He who hesitates is lost. You gave that guy one chance too many and he seized the opportunity. Not to mention you. You are consumed in 2 quick bites. Did he try to grab me once already before I saved? Yeah, he did. Okay, so now's when I jump. Da 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 da. Ooh, looks pretty dark. Being as dark as it is in here, there isn't much to see. You do see a light coming from the east. But east isn't where I want to go, because that's where I just came from. And the only thing east is a bottomless chasm, which I've already fallen into one too many times. It's a little hard to navigate in here because there are rocks lying around. Ah, man. Bear with me here, folks. I'll get through this somehow. You hear the sound of many small, scratchy footsteps moving toward you. Ow! Gnash! Growl! Crunch! Snap! You have just been felled by a killer cave beaver. You now know the meaning of excruciating when used in reference to level of pain. That's pretty bad. So, we're definitely gonna have to do something about this darkness, but it just so happens that we have a source of illumination. You take out the gem and hold it in your palm. The room is illuminated by its glow. You hear a small shriek and the sound of many footsteps moving away from you. In other words, we're safe. But, once again, here we come across a source of frustration. Didn't know about the gem and didn't have a bit with you by now. You'd be fucked. The ground below your feet disappears. You tumble down through the darkness. No worries, I'm perfectly fine. That was a rather spectacular entrance. All systems seem to be intact, though. I did, however, drop my gem. The dwellers mumble something. The translator responds with, "Follow us, beanpole!" They hurry away. Now you remember, last time around I rescued one of those little guys from the trap. If I hadn't, they would have just remained on those rocks over there. And if I'd gotten too close, they would have killed me. However, I could have tried to sneak around them, but nonetheless, it is rather annoying. So that's why I opted to rescue the little guy instead. Welcome to our canyon. You look to be from out of town. On behalf of all of us, I would like to thank you for saving our compadre from the hunters. You are welcome to stay in the canyon as long as you like. When you are ready to leave, simply say the word and my assistants will show you the only way out for a being of your size. When you leave, however, we must seal the exit behind you for our own protection. Goodbye and good luck. Well, there's nothing much to do here, so I'll just do as he said. Time to go. Yep, it's pretty dark down here. No, don't adjust your monitor. We have taken control. There is no light source in the vicinity. You couldn't see guano if it was pasted to your proboscis. I can't even see my score right now. And I can't hold the gem right now because you can't maneuver with the gem in your hand. Suddenly, an inhuman guttural moan echoes through the narrow caves. You're not sure which direction it came from. The only thing you do know for sure is that you've just soiled your undergarment. Yeah, that's not a very pleasant experience. Not that I've ever done anything like that. I think. But yeah, not a lot going on right now. Boy, the dark sure is boring. Are we having fun yet? Boy, it sure doesn't get any better than this. Yuck! A horrible aroma permeates the air. The sounds of suction and slithering reverberate throughout the tunnel. I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. Oh, crud! The warm and inviting feel of suction cup-laden tentacles encompass you. A sharp, probing pain is your introduction to death. Yeah. Well, enough messing around, just for the sake of a death scene. What we're supposed to be doing in here is hold the gem in my mouth. Ah, better. Not a great deal better, but better. And now we come across yet another maze. Suddenly, an inhuman guttural moan. Yeah, we know, it's the thing that just killed us. And there's absolutely no way of knowing which direction we are going. The only way to get through this maze is by sheer and simple trial and error. Ah, you have an opportunity to stand and spare your tender knee. The crystal clear water gives off a gentle glow. In abundance, it is able to light the room. You take the glowing gem from between your aching jaw, and you notice it is overly moist as you slip it into your pocket. Well, thank God that's over. Well, it wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be. Well, let's go for a dip. Again. You are swimming in the swiftly moving water of this underground river. The river forks near the back of the cave. The glow from the water softly illuminates the room. Now, I have to choose from one of two paths, and only one of the two is right. What fun. I've lost control now, because I'm unable to struggle against the currents. Yeah, this doesn't look very promising. Splat. After caroming off of a pair of rock outcroppings, you find a final resting place at the base of the falls. So yeah, we definitely do not want to go that way. Good old trial and error. So, naturally, we take the only other available option and go right. As you enter another of the mysterious subterranean chamber, you realize that the water is now racing toward a giant whirlpool in the middle of the area. You are caught in the strong current, powerless to alter your course. This may not seem too appealing at first, but this is what is actually supposed to happen. Your body is sucked down until finally you are able to resist no more and must yield to the overwhelming force. But now we're dropped back out in the open. Geez, that was quite a trip. Peering around, you find yourself back in the open again. You are in a pool. It is fed by a waterfall which spews from a strange rock face. An actual face, an ugly one at that, is carved into the rock. It must be hundreds of years old. The strange, ugly face has a look of disgust etched into it. The waterfall streams from the open, contorted mouth. This must have been carved by members of an early civilization. If this was their god, imagine how ugly the common man looked. Yeah. It's not too dissimilar from reality, I guess. Well, unfortunately, we find our path is impeded by a huge boulder. But fortunately, there's a way out. And you are absolutely going to love this. Remember that whistle I got from the mailbox? You give the whistle a toot. It makes an odd sound. You hear an incredible whirring and grinding sound coming from the north. And so we are introduced to the Space Quest equivalent of the Tasmanian Devil, the Labion Terror Beast. Suddenly, a Labion Terror Beast buzzes into the room like a tornado, and he looks like he could do as much damage as one. But this brings me from the frying pan into the fire, because now he's going to try and kill me. How do I get rid of him? Simple. You chuck the Cubic's Rube puzzle over to the beast. The beast appears interested in your offering. Curiosity gets the better of him as he reaches down for it. And now he's so distracted by the puzzle that he totally ignores me from now on. It's hilarious, but absolutely ridiculous in terms of puzzles. Not to mention illogical and far-fetched. Now, of course, there is an alternative way of dealing with him. As soon as he appears, you can just go west and then return and he'll be gone. But you miss out on a few points. And of course, if you didn't have the whistle, there'd be absolutely no way of getting past the boulder and you'd be stuck once again. Oh well. Before we leave, however, you pick up a small rock generated during the Terror Beast's grand entrance. Let's have a look at him. Boy, he certainly seems interested in that puzzle. Captain Obvious! Anyway, with that hole in the boulder, we can now move on to the north. And it seems that we are almost out of here. I say almost because there's an 8-man on guard. However, there are several ways of dealing with him. We can try to be stealthy, but that is pretty risky. Because as soon as we step out into the open while he's watching, obviously, he vaporizes me. Dang, allowing the guard to observe you was not very swift. He has disassembled you, probably adding a little excitement to his otherwise dull day. Yeah, guard duty isn't exactly the most appealing of responsibilities, I'd say. Anyways, being stealthy isn't very fun either. So, we're gonna go for a more direct solution to our problem. Throw rock with supporter, that being the athletic supporter I got from the locker earlier, at guard. Wait for him to pop out again. And then we'll give him a surprise he'll never forget. You cleverly use the athletic supporter to sling the rock at the guard. It makes serious contact with the side of his head. We like the way you think. He drops like a lead parakeet. The ripe thud of impact is momentarily sickening. He is perfectly still. Well, that's gotten him out of our hair. Now, use the keycard we got off the dead guard earlier to get into this little elevator here. And voila, we're at the top of the platform. I love that shuttle. You are on a landing platform. A shuttle sits quietly nearby. You see lush growth all around. Now that we're all the way up here, let's go down again! After surviving to this point, you are still prone to acts typical of the mentally absent. Or the sadistic. Or masochistic. Well, anyway, obviously we have to get into the shuttle. The entrance being at the back. You open the hatch and head in. I absolutely love this. Love the graphics in here. As you can see, they're quite detailed for the time. However, I better not do anything stupid with the controls, because doing so might prove fatal. Anyway, you are inside a shuttle cockpit. There is an instrument panel before you. Between your legs is a throttle. You can see the local treetops. Gotta find the right controls to get this thing flying. Everything looks automatic. The panel is loaded with clusters of system status indicators. There's a power button, an attitude dial, and an ascent thruster button. Well, first we turn on the power, of course. Ascent thrusters not ready. Attitude system horizontal control. Well, we want to go up, so we turn the dial. So it goes up instead. Then we hit the thrusters. Hang on. What was that button? Ascent thruster. Button. And then, of course, we pull the throttle and sit back. Now, naturally, we also could have pushed the throttle forwards and thus drove the ship into the ground, but that would not have been exactly conducive to our escape. You're off the planet! Good work, Amayirot Akago! A tone sounds. A soft synthesized voice notes that adequate altitude has been achieved. Ascent thrusters are now ineffective. The monitor draws your attention again. Minimum altitude achieved. Attitude system vertical control. Well, turn the dial again so we can move horizontally now. And we move forwards. You can see a variety of celestial bodies neatly placed in the cold black of space. Now exactly where we're going to should become apparent in a few seconds. The screens are suddenly splashed with the incredibly horrible image of Sludge Vohal. Hello, Amayirot Akago. I've been waiting for you. Once again, my subordinates have failed me. Anyway, it looks like you'll be visiting me again soon. Don't bother trying to pilot the vehicle. I have taken control. You will be arriving at my command post shortly. I anxiously await your arrival. He closes with a chilling laugh. His image is frozen on the screens. The ship changes course as if it had a life of its own. All you can do is hang on. Well, nothing to do now but sit back and enjoy the ride. We're off to meet the master of the house. You feel the ship bank. Moving backwards. And ooh, look familiar? That's no moon. That's a space station. Through the window you see your apparent destination, Vohal's asteroid. Your average James Bond villain would kill to have a place like this. Of course, your average James Bond villain would kill for pretty much anything. Well, here we are, off to face the big bad on his home turf. The massive bay doors meet, jarring the entire vehicle bay. As you step down, the shuttle door slams shut behind you. You are quite surprised not to find several of Vohal's guards waiting to greet you. You begin to ponder what the twisted scientist might have in store for you. Well, let's go and find out, shall we? You are standing on a suspended platform inside the cavernous vehicle bay, which has been carved out of the asteroid. Narrow walkways lead off in almost all directions. Watch your step. I'm sorry, you were saying? It's a short step to the end of the game for you. You're no Buddy Ebsen. Sadly, that reference is lost on me, since I'm just a ignorant little Dutchie. Oh well. I should probably look that up on Wikipedia later. You are in a small capsule-shaped enclosure. Above the door is a digital readout which reads Level 1. The only other feature is a rectangular panel. The panel has a vertical row of 4 buttons. There is some small engraving at the bottom edge of the panel. Oh boy. That does not appear to be here to view. Well, let's just ignore that and look at the buttons. The buttons look ordinary. Each button has a word next to it. In order, they are 1, 3, 4, and 5. Whatever happened to 2? Well, no importance. Let's check out floor 3. Ding! Floor 3. You have the funny feeling you're being watched. And we're definitely going to want to avoid that thing. Because if we get in its way... yeah. It looks like you have been formally introduced to the floor waxer. You now consist of a very thin yet glossy floor covering. Too bad. You seem to be making relatively good progress. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you guys. If you die and you go to the About SQ2 box over here, it tells you that we hope you're not looking for someone to blame just because you died. It's a neat little gag there. But anyway, this guy here, the floor waxer, roams each corridor, going back and forth all the time, and you definitely don't want to get caught in its path, so we just have to wait till it passes, and then we can go on our merry way. But the floor waxer isn't the only danger around here. A lot of these corridors are pretty featureless. But there is some important stuff up here for us to find before we go and face Vohal. Right here we have a door. Oh crap, he's coming back already? Aha! You know a janitorial closet when you smell one. Almost at once you sense an emptiness, a melancholy longing. You begin to feel homesick. It's quite dark in here. You do find a plunger, however. Ah, no good janitor should be without one. Stars! Except for some small windows, this area is much like all of the other interior sections of the asteroid. More generic blue corridors. Ho-hum. I'm beginning to have flashbacks to Phantasmagoria too. Phantasmagoria! A puzzle of endless corridors. Except this isn't Phantasmagoria, this is Space Quest. Funny thing that. It's from Sierra as well, though. That should tell you something right there. Anyway, back to reality. Or its closest equivalent. Level 4.